football picks and bet show on the Mayo Media Network. I am your host, Scott Simpson. As always, we are presented by Prize Picks. Sign up for Prize Picks using the link in the description below, code MMN, and get your deposit doubled up to $100. It's basically free money. Also, while you're there, like and subscribe to the Mayo Media Network on YouTube. Again, that promo MMN. I'm joined, as always, on Tuesday night by my guy, the Real Deal Fantasy on Twitter, LQ. Not his birthday, but he's still verified. LQ, how are you doing, brother?
What's up, man? It's Tuesday football. It's weird. We got a game going on right now. A lot of fantasy, playoffs are going on right now, and fingers crossed. I am depressed. I'm probably going to lose, but everybody's feeling the pain this week.
I was going to ask you, how did you fare? I'm going to go 5-2 in my 7 games. What's your split with the teams that are still remaining in the playoffs?
I got 2 first-round buys, so thankfully they're still alive, but I got 2 first-round exits, so not too happy. Everybody else, I didn't make it.
My main league of record, I am out. I did not make the playoffs, and it was hard because all my league mates know that I'm a fantasy millionaire. It's like they give me a hard time about it and rub my face in it. So next year I'll get them in the main league. But we're here. It's a Tuesday. We're talking Prize Picks. We don't have the normal slate that we're going to break down today. It's a little unique. They haven't released all the Prize Picks, so even though we do have a Thursday game, we only have 2 picks up. We'll touch on those. We'll also give you a little a secret sauce for the Saturday games, right? We normally don't have Saturday games and we normally don't talk about them, but we're going to kind of let you in on some secrets and who you should play on Saturday as well. So let's jump right in. Code MMN, Prize Picks down below. Please sign up. I know Pat is making me say that, but besides that, you should do it anyway. I play myself and Pat's not paying me to say that. So I love doing this. Let's get in there. Jimmy G, Ryan Tannehill, not a surprise here. Ryan Tannehill under 200 yards. 199 in a hook. He's depleted in his wide receiver core. Not looking that great. Jimmy G, on the other hand, he's got Debo, he's got Ayuk, he's got Kittle. He's over 230 in a hook. Where are you leaning with these 2 players?
I'm more so leaning on Jimmy G to hit. You also could, lean on Ryan Tannehill to hit the under here, but I feel as though, with Ryan Tannehill struggling right now without his wide receivers, and I feel as though you have more of a higher chance of hitting on this bet with Jimmy G, with a Debo Samuel, and just a very electric Debo Samuel. I should say he's a running back, he's a tight end, he's a GM, he's a wide receiver, man. He does it all.
He's a DB. He's going to play Trent Williams' position next week.
Yeah,
he's the man. I like this call too. When I saw this Ryan Tannehill 199 in a hook, immediately my gut reaction said he's going to pass for 165 yards, 170 yards. So yeah. I really like the under. LQ's giving you the over smash for Jimmy G. I'm giving you the under smash for Ryan T. So we're trying to keep it frosty here. I'll say the reason I don't like Ryan Tannehill necessarily is because AJ Brown. I need to know what's going to happen with AJ Brown. If AJ Brown's a full set, he's a go. He's practicing. He's looking great. Then I might hedge my bets here on this one. But without a clear, healthy AJ Brown, I want to know. That's the kind of thing it hinges on. What about for you? Anything make you move away from Tannehill, either side, to go up or down this week?
With Tannehill, you got to understand he's in an offense that's going to run the ball. So they're going to run the ball a ton. Deontay Foreman there, thankfully, he's back. He's getting an opportunity again to be on the team and put up 100 yards. That was very impressive for him to do. So I feel as though, he has a hot hand now. So maybe less throwing and more running. They're going to go with whatever works.
Yeah. They want to run the football with Derrick Henry. They were on a record pace to do that before he was hurt, and so they still want to do that as an offense. It's taking a little while to kind of find who they are, I guess, as a team with no Julio, no AJ Brown. So it's interesting to see their team in flux, after that loss last week to the Pittsburgh Steelers. I want to see what they do. They're 9-5. They're 3rd in the division. So this is a make or break game for them in a lot of ways too. Whereas San Francisco coming in on a hot streak. What do you think about San Francisco? Are they for real? Are they somebody who can, contend in that NFC West?
The NFC West is always mucky in the end. So it's like they're making noise, but they're not making enough noise to be better than the Rams. They're not making enough noise, to even compete with the Cardinals, in my opinion, even though the Cardinals are like broken as of now. But I feel as though, San Fran always finds herself in the middle. So it's going to come down to the Rams, basically losing and basically the Cardinals losing out as well. It's going to be a little weird situation.
Well, speaking of those Cardinals, by the way, Kyler Murray on the Saturday slate, he does have a total here for passing yards, 245 and a hook. Do you think there's a rebound, or, he's going up against a pretty tough Indianapolis defense? I mean, I don't know if you've noticed, but they have one of the top turnover percentages in the league. They get defensive touchdowns. Is this a good matchup for Kyler, or are we going to fade this 245 and a hook?
Oof, I might fade it. I'm actually terrified of it. I mean, Indy has been playing great. I mean, like you said, you hit on the turnovers. It could be a rough night for Kyler.
Yeah, if anything, I think I would take the under on this. I do like Carson Wentz's 200 if they decide to ever throw the football. But right now, it's a JT show. Why would you have to put the ball in Carson Wentz's hands when he can turn around and put it in Jonathan Taylor's hands? So that 200 in a hook, it seems very doable, but really not the game plan that they've been kind of executing as of late. And so we only have to go on the last couple of weeks. Really, you don't take the whole season into account right now. You look and see, how's the team playing now to win? What are they doing successful? They're running football. JT is a monster. So even this Carson Wentz bet, to me, it's something I'm going to avoid. I'm not going to play it. I don't like it. What about you?
Yeah, it's pretty disgusting. And as a guy who has Michael Pittman, he's been suffering the last couple of weeks, man. I just feel as though with Pittman, it's like it's been inconsistent. Like, he had a great game against Houston, but it's Houston. Like, let's really, think about it. But when you have a Jonathan Taylor and you have that talent, you have to just keep giving him the ball. You got to keep leaning on him. And I feel as though, this is a clear fade, for this 200. It looks good and, it sounds good. And you might want to hit the under, but then it's like he could do 201 and then you're sitting there with an egg on your face.
Yeah, I don't want any of that. I'll tell you what I do want some of, though, and that is my man Aaron Rodgers, 254 and a hook. Now, he did lose MVS, which it's not great, but he still has Devontae Adams. He still has Alan Lazard. And I mean, listen, he found out that Mercedes Lewis was on his team last week too. So he is throwing the football around a little bit. What do you think about Aaron Rodgers? Are you going to play this? Are you confident in it? Like on the scale of LQ's fire hotness, how high up would you go on Aaron Rodgers this week?
I can't bet against him, man. He's a second tier GOAT. I mean, you definitely got to go into it knowing, like, as long as he has Devontae Adams, he's going to put up yards. He's going to be able to pass the ball around. He's still going to sling it around. Nothing's going to be like able to miss a beat. So, he loses MVS, but he'll find, that next guy that'll stand up and be able to get the unders and the long balls and et cetera, to get that large chunk of balls that he's been trying to get to MVS.
Yeah. And you know what? I mean, let's just be honest here. Aaron Rodgers likes to throw the football around. He's got, this is just in the last couple of weeks, right? 292, 385, 307, 341, 268. So every last 5 games, all his totals would be over 254. So I think this is one of my favorite bets of the weekend for sure when it comes to the quarterbacks. All right, only a few more prize picks on the slate right now that we can deal with, right? But let's talk some running backs right now. Let's talk a little Saturday running back situation here, and we're going to take a look for us at the rushing totals. There's a couple juicy numbers here. I want to know who's juicier, right? Jonathan Taylor, 89 and a hook. It's a high number, or James Conner, 45 and a hook.
Oh, it got to be Jonathan Taylor, man. Like, he's going to explode, man. It's just like they're playing games with us. I really feel as though Jonathan Taylor is on a hot streak. He's going to be running guys into the championships and probably take it home because he's getting it done on the ground, and that's exactly what he's going to do against the Cardinals.
Yeah, I know. I'm not paying JT against anybody. I remember a couple weeks ago, it was, are you going to pay up for him against New England? Yeah, you are. You are. Yeah, you're going to pay up for him against New England. He's not stoppable, right? He's just not. For 23, at least for PPR, 23.7 points per game, right? He's getting it done. And then rushing yards, he's over 1,500, and receiving yards, he's at 303. He's almost at 2,000. He might get 2,000 total yards in this game. Very likely he does. Yeah. And so 89, he's been getting that in the first half. So I really do like this as well. What about the James Conner? Would you run it back with that, stack a little bit there, or are you going to fade Conner? You got, Chase Edmonds back in the fold, a team that maybe they're going to be passing the ball a little bit more in this type of matchup. What do you think?
I might get the under here. I'm going to play. I might do the under here for the simple fact the last 2 games he's had under 40 yards, and that's based on how the game went. Like, I'm not saying that the Cardinals are completely broken, but Man, last week was embarrassing. You look at James Conner, you're trying to figure out why they're not getting him more involved in the passing game, the running game. It's just how it shaped out. And, Kyler just had to basically take over and try to do something, but it didn't work out for him. So I feel as though you can hit this, but I'll do the under here.
Yeah, and no, this is 45 and hook is not 100. James Conner has rushed for 100 yards this year 0 times. Just for the record, he's got 39 last week, 31 the week before, a couple weeks ago, 39, 22, 29, 50, 43, 26. So that his points have primarily come on touchdowns, and then when he becomes that passing back, in the last couple of weeks with Chase Edmonds out, that's where his points have come in fantasy. So don't overthink that one and go, oh, well, yeah, it's James Conner. He can get that easily. He might not. So I like kind of just fading that.
We love him for the touchdowns, not the rushing yards. Yeah. Everybody gets that confused.
Right. And Bo McBig Time just straight up hates him. So let's just put it that way. Yeah. Sorry, Bo. Didn't mean to throw you under the bus, but someone had to. So, all right. Well, those are the limited prize picks for this week. Do check in with prize picks. I'm sure they'll have a lot more picks up for the Thursday games and then for the Saturday games as well. Be on the lookout for all kinds of teasers and plays that they have. I love these new discounted ones. Have you seen these over at Prize Picks? They will give you a discount on the price or the amount that it's going to be. You have to say instead of 200 yards, you get 180 yards. They give you a 20% discount on the yardage. Look for those kind of flash sales that come on players. Get you in, get your first bet a win. Really, they really want you to win so you can kind of build up your bet. So do check that out. MMN is your $100 double up deposit match when you sign up to $100. So you spend $100, they give you $100. So, all right, let's jump in over now to start sit. This is the most important week to date in the fantasy football calendar, LQ. So I only brought the fire matchups. These are not mine either. These are real matchups. And I have a big question at quarterback that I need your help with. I went on record yesterday on the Fantasy Millionaires and saying, I do not want Josh Allen against New England. Bill Belichick has had his number. That is the one kind of coach that has been able to kind of keep Josh Allen contained. So here's a question for you. He is the number one quarterback in fantasy in all formats, DraftKings, PPR, whatever. He's averaging 23.3 points per game. So I want to give you that on the table on the front end. I'm going to give you a list of quarterbacks. You tell me, are you willing to start them over him this week against whoever they're going up against? You down?
Let's do it.
All right, here we go. My fantasy millionaire co-host favorite player of the week, Kirk Cousins, up against your boys and the LA Rams. Is that fool's gold, or would you go with Josh Allen?
Give me Josh Allen. That's the safer bet. Kirk Cousins is going to have a very difficult time. I mean, Von Miller, he's back. Aaron Donald, Jalen Ramsey. Do I need to go on? It's not going to be pretty for Kirk.
Well, what about our man Huntley? The emergence in Baltimore, 2 touchdowns rushing, 2 touchdowns passing. I saw a tweet. I needed to be verified, but it was that Lamar Jackson had never done that before. Which blew my mind, but still a great performance. Are you rolling with him against Cincinnati, or are you going Josh Allen?
This is a good one. I might roll with a Tyler Huntley versus Cincinnati because obviously Tyler Huntley's been watching a lot of Lamar Jackson film, and I like how electric he is. I like that he's able to be elusive just like Lamar Jackson. So you have that dual threat, but you also have that dual threat with Josh Allen, but he's going against Belichick. So I might roll with Huntley on this one.
Ooh, I like that one. All right, last one. We'll wrap up the QB. Would you not? Russell, Mr. Unlimited Wilson against Chicago. I'll give you the only caveat. He did turn down a foursome with DK Metcalf recently. So I don't know what's going on there, but you know what I mean? There could be something of brewing. What do you think about this? Are you willing to roll the dice with Russ?
I'm not really liking Russ. He's never been a guy for me that I could depend on in the playoffs. If we look at his playoff performances the last 2 to 3 years, they aren't great. And I think we're in, the time where the kitchen is closed. So, Russ doesn't really show up in December. So I'm fading him completely for the month of December. I don't care if the matchup, I don't care the situation.
You heard it here first from LQ. My fading of Josh Allen is a terrible play. I read between the lines. He didn't like anybody but Huntley. So
Huntley,
don't fade Josh Allen unless you have Huntley. Then it's a good play. Let's talk some running back matchups here. Duke Johnson or Myles Gaskin. Florence came out today and said there's an RB competition. We're competitioning it up right now in week 16. So I'll give you a caveat. They're going up against New Orleans. So
So yeah, the next 2 weeks are going against the number 1 and number 2 team that give the fewest fantasy points per game to running backs. So these are guys that I'm completely fading all through the playoffs. And I understand some people are in situations where, there's injuries, COVID, et cetera. But if you had to choose one, it's kind of like it's a flip of a coin here. Like if he's coming out publicly saying there's going to be a committee, it's going to be a committee. Everybody got excited because Duke Johnson put up 2 touchdowns against the worst defense versus running backs that give up the most rushing touchdowns. So of course he had to do that. So I feel as though it's really a toss up here. You're rolling the dice either way, going against, the number 1 and number 2, hardest defenses against running backs.
Yeah, there you have it, folks. Duke Johnson, not the waiver wire wonder this week. You might want to pivot to Ronald Jones. Yeah. All right. I got another either or here, or none, or both, right? You can do it any of these. Starting Zeke or Pollard versus Washington this week.
I'm gonna go with Zeke. Washington giving up 16 points per game to running backs, which it could play into Pollard as well, but Zeke seems to still hold that red zone, title. So that role is his to where he can slide in for a touchdown, and boom, here we are. I mean, we look at last week, he got into the end zone, he put up 16 fantasy points. So it's like my expectations are in check for Zeke. He's an RB2. I'm looking for 12 to 15 points. Anything above that, anything between that, I'm okay with. So I'm gonna roll with Zeke just being that, RB1 title face of that team.
Yeah. And so last week, your guy, Zeke Elliott, 16 carries. He did outpace Tony Pollard, had 12. Zeke, 3.2 rushing yards per touch. And our guy, Tony Pollard, 6.2. So, I mean, it comes down to that touchdown and that goal line and kind of where he gets his.
If we look at the week before with Corey Clement, I mean, they were only a difference of a 2-point conversion in fantasy points and 1 rushing yard, between them as well. So it's going to be very close. It's going to be hair pulling. It's going to look even between Zeke and Pollard, but then somebody's going to slide in for a touchdown.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. It's more likely than not Zeke. If it's going to be Pollard, I could see it maybe being out of the backfield, being on a wheel route, maybe, a breakdown where he's slipping out, but more designed for Zeke, I think, in this role. Maybe by the end of the year it switched, but right now it's still Zeke. So, all right. And last question, if you are picking up Ronald Jones or you're spending all of your fab, are you just rolling him out 100%? He's good to go. He's the new playoff Lenny, or is there a hesitation there?
It's hesitation only because he doesn't have much PPR upside, because we've seen him drop plenty of balls out of the backfield, fumbles, et cetera, et cetera. Like he's been punished for a reason. Like Leonard Fournette came in, he basically took the job and ran away with it, and it was no mistake. Feels though Ronald Jones, though, he doesn't really have much worry of like a Keyshawn Vaughn and new Bucks, Le'Veon Bell apparently. So I feel as though Ronald Jones will be kind of okay as a pure runner, but you're not going to get much PPR upside out of it.
Yeah. So maybe temper your expectations if you're thinking, that's my guy, I'm going to roll to the championship with Jones. Yeah, I like it. All right, let's jump down to some wide receiver questions. Dallas rolling in, or actually Washington rolling into Dallas, I should say. Which Dallas wide receiver do you trust the most these days? Is it Amari Cooper? Is it CeeDee Lamb? Is it Gallup? He had a nice flashy touchdown 2 weeks ago. It was sensational. Back corner of the end zone. The feet still haunt me to this day because I was playing against him in fantasy.
I mean, you got to rock with the wide receiver one there with CeeDee Lamb, but more importantly, I've have tons of shares of Michael Gallup, so I trust him 100% in basically the playoffs. If you're still in the playoffs, if we look at it the last 3 weeks, it's been CeeDee Lamb as target and leader, and then it goes Michael Gallup. Amari Cooper is sitting there as the third wide receiver, and it's not looking good because before CeeDee Lamb came in the picture, before he was drafted, Michael Gallup was acting and looking like the wide receiver one. So I'm going to roll with him, man. I trust him a lot, and hopefully, Dallas signs him again next year.
Yeah, so maybe Amari Cooper on the outside looking in. He has struggled with injury. I mean, that's part of it. You're not there. You're not building the chemistry. You're not the go-to guy anymore because you're not on the field. You can't be there to be present. So, no, I like it. All right, let me ask you a question. We talked about DK Metcalf a little bit, teased about him. Well, seriously, can draft or can DK managers really trust him anymore? I mean, maybe if you have him, you're not in the playoffs, right? So who cares? But if you do have DK, can you trust him anymore going into week 16? I mean, obviously this week you started him with no Tyler Lockett, but with Tyler Lockett there, is he anything more than a flex right now?
I have my beliefs on Seattle alone. This is outside of my fandom of Rams. I just don't feel as though they're consistent. It's 1 week it's Lockett, The next week is DK, and then you have half season Russell Wilson. So it becomes like very frustrating of trying to figure out where to put these guys. Like obviously, if you have a DK Metcalf, you really don't have anybody else sitting in the win that you could start over them. So I'm in a situation where I have DK Metcalf, or do I play Jacoby Myers? And that's one of those situations where it's a toss-up. I feel as though more touchdown upside is on DK. He has that touchdown upside. He has that PPR ability. So if you're in a situation like that, you really don't have much options to sit DK. So he could be a solid flex, moving on.
Yeah, I will say tonight so far, 2 receptions on 3 targets, 11 yards, bringing down the house with 3.1 fantasy points.
Isn't it beautiful?
Yeah. 3.1. He wanted a foursome. He's getting a 3.1 some right now. So good for you. Let's jump down. We got one more question here before we get into the NFL injury news. And man, there's a glut of it, unfortunately. Foster Moreau, we wanted to play him 2 weeks ago and he sucked. And then this past week, he filled in 9 targets, 7 receptions, got it done. Do you trust him again this week against Denver? Or are you going to go a little James O'Shaughnessy versus the Jets?
Oh, God. It's terrible.
I know, it's terrible. That accent was terrible, too. I'm sorry. Forgive me.
This is another toss-up, man. We can go O'Shaughnessy. Let's roll the dice. Let's go O'Shaughnessy against the Jets. I like it.
I like it too. I'm with you. Foster, Denver's pretty good on defense. We know the Jets.
Foster's no Waller, and you can see the offense is shifting to a Hunter Renfrow and getting Josh Jacobs way more involved in the passing game, what we absolutely love. So I don't think Foster brings any type of like excitement anymore.
No, I'm with you. Here's a thought. If you have not already, please go follow The Real Deal Fantasy on Twitter. He's giving you fire content only, helping you win your fantasy championships. Please do follow him now. And you can follow me, Nimble W Numbers, on Twitter as well. I wouldn't be offended at all. So let's talk NFL injury news. We've got so much of it. I mean, this is just, it's not great. But let's start with, it's gross. Let's start with the COVID situation. And here's the thing. There's some nuance here. Yeah, there's some nuance here. Cole Beasley, he's out. I'm presuming for at least 2 weeks, not vaccinated. The rest, though, are vaccinated or primary. I think they're vaccinated. Jared Goff, Rashad Perryman, MVS, Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill, Austin Eckler, all on the COVID list right now. I don't think MVS is going to be available, so maybe he's not vaccinated, but Kelce and Hill could come off by the end of the week. And then I'm not sure about Rashad Perryman either, though. But some of these cases, we don't know all of the nuances of are they on the list because they're a close contact or they test positive for it. So just follow all of them and see kind of where they're going to be. But I think out of the group of COVID positive skill players, I think Cole Beasley, you can confirm, is just going to be out. I think if you're unvaccinated, you're out 2 weeks. So that's something to kind of just adjust your ranks on your players. And it's not good, man. I mean, we saw it last week. They had to move 2 games. We're playing them right now, right? We're playing them, actually 3 games. They're playing 2 of them right now. So hopefully this week is not too crazy, even though it's already starting off pretty crazy.
Yeah. And week 15 forever.
Oh man, the week 15 it'll never end. I just want to win or lose. That's all I want to know. I don't really, it started on Thursday and it's Tuesday. I still don't know if I've won or lost my matchup.
It's crazy.
Yeah. We also have some injuries, non-COVID related, players who are out for the regular season. So, get them off your fantasy team. Sadly, Chris Godwin, one of the top receivers in the league, knee MCL sprain, out for a while. Teddy Bridgewater took a nasty little tumble on Sunday. Prayers up for Teddy. He is doubtful. Then we had TJ Hawkinson go on the IR since we talked last. Carlos Hyde is on the IR. Waller is out. Daniel Jones is on the IR. Sterling Shepard is out. Ryan Griffin is doubtful. JD McKissick is on the IR. And then Washington football team has both of their COVID, their quarterbacks on the COVID list right now. But they should clear, I'm guessing, by the end of the week 16 or when they play on Sunday. So any of those stand out to you as kind of just gut punches for any of your fantasy teams?
Definitely TJ Hawkinson, man. As a guy who had, Logan Thomas and TJ Hawkinson, it's very upsetting that now I got to lean on Tyler Conklin in one of my leagues to win it all for me. But it's a very unfortunate, TJ Hawk, we had stars in the moon for him. So it's a huge, huge hit for me.
Yeah, pour some out for the Hockham House. That's what my wife calls him. So she actually thinks that's his name. So we'll keep it going in as long as we can. I know, so funny. Let's talk some of the questionable. So this is where we have some hope, right? These players could play potentially. Some of them maybe are trending towards not playing, but right now they're all questionable. So we'll go over them. Biggest one though, Lamar Jackson. Do you think he plays this week?
Absolutely. I think he's hungry, man. You definitely want to keep the momentum going, with the teams and vibes and leadership and stuff like that, even though Huntley is playing well. I just feel as though he's hungry, man. He's going to want to get back on the field.
Yeah. Jim Harbaugh, hopeful that he will be able to practice tomorrow. So pay attention to those practice reports that come out every day. Here's a little hint. Go to Google and put in whatever team you have and then put injury report. You'll get they have to do it. It's a league mandated thing. You'll get every single injury report from every single team. You can take a look at them. So it's pretty simple. Rondale Moore, MRI to come on the ankle. That doesn't sound good for this week. So if you got Rondale Moore, pay attention to his status. Joe Mixon, he's questionable with an ankle. Fire up Shemaze Perine if you have been hiding him somewhere. I don't know why you would.
Yeah.
But what do you think about the Joe Mixon situation?
It's a terrible timing, man. As a guy who's been rooting for him since March, basically, it's just, oh God, terrible timing for a lot of people. So we shall see what happens.
Hopefully he can mend up, and if not this week, get back next week and not totally be out for your championship if you get to that advanced level.
If you make it, yeah.
If you make it, yeah. A couple other players who should, we're thinking they return this week: Baker Mayfield, Jarvis Landry, Austin Hooper, all on the COVID list right now. They weren't able to clear before yesterday, or no, today. Today's game. My brain is just. Is it today? Yesterday? One of these days? I don't know. Yesterday. Yeah. Who knows what day it is? It's fucking week 15 still. Is it Christmas yet? I feel like tomorrow's Christmas. Yeah. Good news in Detroit. They think DeAndre Swift will be back. His shoulder injury finally maybe able to heal. So pay attention to that. Yeah. Also in the NFC North, you've got Aaron Jones questionable with his knee. He played last week, right? But just keep an eye on that. And then Aaron Rodgers with his COVID toe. He's doing okay. I saw him dancing around on the sidelines, practice discount double check during timeout. So I think he's fine. Austin Eckler, we mentioned it before, questionable though, just for his ankle injury. So kind of pay attention to the COVID and the ankle for Austin Eckler, kind of a dual hit there. And then, Donald Parham questionable. That was just a terrible situation with him. So, yeah, I mean, my doubt is that he gets through the concussion protocol this week, maybe even the rest of the season. But just, keep your prayers up for Donald. Adam Thielen questionable, could be coming off the short term. He was out for a couple weeks. How do you think that impacts Kirk against your boys, the Rams, next week?
A ton, man. I mean, they honestly need Adam Thielen back, especially we've seen them struggle yesterday. It wasn't pretty, they came out with the win, but still, it just was not a pretty win. They really didn't deserve it, honestly, but Adam Thielen needs to get back on that offense.
Yeah, no, it's a different offense. Justin Jefferson, what happens in the NFL, by the way, folks, if you haven't been paying attention, is you can be out a player a week or two, and then the defense adjusts to the players that are kind of filling in. And so obviously Justin Jefferson is going to get the lion's share of the targets with Adam Thielen out. And the defenses after week one going, oh my God, I can't believe this happened. They're like, hey, let's make some adjustments. And that's what good coaching is all about, is making adjustments. So hopefully Adam Thielen gets back in, and then the Vikings can adjust their offense back so that you get some one-on-one matchups with Justin Jefferson. He's not doubled all the time. So a couple other injuries to monitor. Players have got you here. Elijah Mitchell's got a knee injury still. Damian Harris is questionable. You got Mike Evans. You got Leonard Fournette. Do you think Leonard Fournette comes back this year, or you think he? No.
I don't think so. I don't think so. That hammy is something that always returns back. Returns back. And his history with injuries in general, he might be shut down for the rest of the season. You don't just pick up a Le'Veon Bell just because, you know what I mean, when you have already two running backs on this, three actually. You got Gio there as well. So it's like something is, going on with Lenny where I think he might be shut down for good.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a coming back in the divisional round if it works either. I'm not sure how you just come back like that, but we'll see. He won the Super Bowl last year. He was a big part of that rushing attack. So we'll see. Devonta Foreman, he's got an ankle injury. Julio Jones game time decision. AJ Brown has been activated off the IR. So a lot to watch down there in Tennessee as well. Man, I need a break just from running through all those injuries. Man, I feel like I'm injured. I'm day to day now. Oh man, way too many. I know. I do have to say, LQ, I love doing this every Tuesday, getting to hang out with you, getting to spit hot fire content only. Let me ask you, where can people find you?
You guys can find me at Real Deal Fantasy on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and I write for Downtown Rams. Got an article that came out today. When you're watching this, probably yesterday, but you can check it out on the website at downtownrams.com. Yeah, and that's about it.
No, I love it. Do go check him out there. You can find me, Nimble W Numbers, on Twitter. You can find me, nimblewnumbers.com on the World Wide Web. You can find me here at the Mayo Media Network with LQ pretty much every Tuesday. Shout out Pat Mayo. Shout out everybody at the Mayo Media Network. Merry Christmas. Happy Kwanzaa. Merry, happy Hanukkah, even though it's way past. Happy New Year. We appreciate everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope everyone has a safe and happy holidays. LQ, last question. What do you want to get for Christmas?
That is a good question. Envelope full of money. Let's just say that.
I like it. I want to get some sleep. So we'll see after Christmas if you got an envelope full of money and if Santa gave me some sleep. So we'll be back. Hope that your bets cash. MMN if you're signed up for Prize Picks. We'll see you guys next time. Peace.